Hi, everybody. Welcome to English Digest. I'm Stephanie.
And I'm Tom.
Hey, it's our history unit, as you know, and it's day 2 of our discussion. Now, on day 1, we kind of focused on the mail order catalogs, how they came about. They were first made, I guess, very popular by a guy named Aaron Montgomery Ward. He realized that a lot of people living in rural communities weren't getting access to some things they wanted, and if they did order it through their local store where they sold, flour and sugar, it would cost a fortune. So he made it cheaper for people to order through a catalog and then have that product delivered straight to their house or their residence. And so that continued on until the internet was discovered or, someone thought of the internet. And now we have online shopping. So today we're going to focus more on online shopping. And we're going to talk about the global leader, of course, is Amazon. But how it works, how things are produced and how they go from the Amazon warehouse or what do they call those? They call them fulfillment centers. I forgot. How they go from that center, are boxed up, and how they come to your home.
Exactly. And, of course, we're going to talk about how that process works when you go online and when you order something. Hey, what happens? How does that product get from your computer screen to your front desk and in your hands? So let's talk about that today. Let's read through the entire contents of our lesson right now. Online shopping is now the dominant model, and when it comes to online commerce, Amazon is the global leader. The corporation now brings in over $300 billion in revenue each year as it dominates its competition. But how does the shopping behemoth get the products you order to your door? The process starts with the manufacturers, which are located all over the world. Products travel via cargo ship, truck, or train to Amazon's warehouses, which it calls its fulfillment centers. These are enormous. Some are the equivalent of 28 football fields in size and can hold tens of millions of items. You might think these centers are organized with precision, but in fact the opposite is true. Items are stored randomly, since this means a wide array of products is close to hand at any time. As new items arrive, they are scanned and assigned a place in the warehouse by an employee called a stower. The items are then placed in storage pods. When you order something online, a robot moves the pod containing your product to another employee called a picker, who places your order on a conveyor belt that transports it through the warehouse to the packer. This person puts it in a box and ensures the box is labeled correctly. Your box, along with hundreds of others, is placed on a truck that goes to a sorting center. If your order was placed with the premium Amazon Prime service, which offers 2-day delivery, Amazon Air takes the item onward, while trucks handle regular deliveries. One of Amazon's delivery service partners then drives the final few kilometers to place your order in your hands.
Okay, guys, we're going to talk more about online shopping, and we're going to be looking at the company that really is the dominant model or the global leader in online shopping and delivery, and that's Amazon. Now, online shopping, it says here, is now the dominant model. If you're dominant, you're more powerful than others in that particular category or around you. If we're talking about business and you are the dominant leader or the dominant company in a particular industry, it means you're on top. You are doing better than your competitors. So it's the dominant or stronger model. When it comes to online commerce, or when we're talking about online commerce, Amazon is the global leader. Commerce just means the buying and selling of goods and services. It can be a product that you can put your hands around, or as the definition usually says, it could be a service that you provide as well. You'll often see e-commerce. Have you seen that before? I'm sure some of our listeners have. That means it's a type of commerce or business that's done online. So commerce in general is just the buying and selling of goods and services. It also could be described as being trade. We often talk about trade, which is also the buying and selling of goods and services. And we like to promote commerce in our communities so that we have a lot of people buying and selling. It makes our economy much more robust and strong.
Yep, we've got domestic commerce, we've got international commerce, and now we've got online commerce. And, of course, Amazon is the global leader in online commerce. I'm not sure how many people here in Taiwan order from Amazon. I've done it before, but it's often much cheaper to order things locally. But let's talk about Amazon specifically in today's lesson. The corporation now brings in over $300 billion in revenue each year as it dominates its competition. So Amazon is more than just a company, it's a corporation. I've tried to look up this definition before, but basically it's easiest to understand this word corporation as meaning simply a very, very large company. A corporation, and it brings in lots and lots of money in revenue. The revenue, of course, is money that the company makes and that they can put in their pockets, especially the top executives in the company. And so they've got lots of revenue. You've got gross revenue and net revenue and stuff like that. And it brings in lots of revenue or income each year because it dominates its competition. Competition, of course, are other companies that you're competing against in the market. And yeah, I can't think of any other company that competes with Amazon. It seems like that's the only one out there. Maybe Walmart has stuff you can order from them, but it seems like Amazon has way more stuff than they do.
Now, competition here, guys, is being used as an uncountable or non-count noun. It's singular. You wouldn't say it dominates its competitions. No. But competition here actually encompasses a lot of different companies. It's not just one company. So you can use it in a singular, uncount, or non-count way. The people or groups that are competing against you, especially in business or in a sport, are your competition. Now, if you're talking about a single company or a single sports team that you're competing against, it would be your competition or your competitor. You would say, oh, they're our biggest competitor or they're our biggest competition. But here, it's referring to a large number of companies that are all in the same type of business. So, yeah, they do have some competition out there, as Tom said, but they're dominating them or they're stronger than their competitors or their competition.
Exactly. And we've got this question, though, but how does this shopping behemoth get the products you order to your door? Here we've got the word behemoth. It's also pronounced behemoth, but behemoth is more common. That just means a very large monster or creature, but it usually refers to something that's very, very big and possibly so big that it's out of control.
Yeah, we often use it in business. So if you're reading the newspaper or a business magazine, they'll often talk about, this behemoth in marketing or this behemoth in advertising. They're referring to a very large and powerful company. It's usually international and has a lot of power. So it's a behemoth. This word actually was originally found in the Bible, and it described a big, big monster of some sort, some creature that we really today don't know what it was. But behemoth, yeah. It's kind of formal. You will see it, though. And if you're in business, you should memorize that term because you will see it in business newspapers, business journals, and magazines. So moving on to the second paragraph, it says the process starts with the manufacturers. A manufacturer is somebody who makes something. Usually that's something includes being produced in a factory with a big machinery. Lots of people or robots these days are in factories. So the process of delivering something to someone who's shopping online begins with the manufacturers, and they're located all over the world. If you do go onto Amazon or any of these online shopping sites, it doesn't mean that the country that online shopping site is located in is the one that's producing the products you buy. Amazon has products from all over the world. I'm sure a lot of these other online shopping sites do as well. I know with PC Home, they have things that are produced in other countries. I often will buy my computers on PC Home, or sometimes things that have to do with computer technology I buy on PC Home. I like PC Home quite a bit. I've also bought some exercise equipment on PC Home. So not all of this stuff is made in Taiwan, although PC Home is a Taiwanese company. So it starts with the manufacturers. The products travel via or via. Via means through this process or through this way. So they travel by cargo ship, truck, or train to Amazon's warehouses, and they call those fulfillment centers. I love how they name these places things that sound nice. They're just big warehouses. They're huge buildings where you can store a large quantity of goods, a warehouse.
And I think that's a specific term for Amazon, so don't think that word applies to all other companies. Amazon calls these places fulfillment centers, like you said, a warehouse or maybe a distributor center or something like that. And these are enormous. They're huge. They're gigantic. They're colossal.
Yeah.
And some are the equivalent of 28 football fields in size and can hold tens of millions of items. So they're the equivalent of 28 football fields. Equivalent here just means equal in value if you want to compare them. How big is it? Well, think of 28 football fields. Here, this article was written by a British fella, so of course he's referring to soccer, football soccer, 28 football fields, which is basically the same size as an American football field. It's pretty big, and just take 28 of those football fields, and then you can imagine how big these fulfillment centers are.
Yeah, they're huge, huge, just really big. So if you talk about something being the equivalent of something else, it just means having the same value, purpose, job, something as a person or thing of a different kind. So an equivalent to a degree would be years of experience in a particular field. Maybe you're applying for a job and they want a certain bachelor's degree or the equivalent in experience. Sometimes they want both, but sometimes if you have a lot of experience, you don't need that degree. They want to know if you have the knowledge and experience they're looking for. So the equivalent to dollars or cash would be a credit card that you can buy things with, or a debit card. They're an equivalent to a certain amount in gold or silver would be cash. So, yeah, it just means having the same value or amount or purpose or even the same job as someone else, but it's a little different. So, yeah, they've got these huge fulfillment centers that are quite big, and they're kind of the same size or similar size of 28 football fields. We're going to find out more about Amazon and how they do business, but first we're going to take a break and listen to our Chinese teacher.
听众朋友大家好，我是安娜。我们从昨天开始带大家看看从邮购到网购，那么今天要特别来带大家看看这么多人从网络上面购物，那货物寄送到府到底是什么样的一个模式呢？好，我们今天要特别来看一下这个网购业的龙头 Amazon 它是怎么样处理的，它到底是怎么处理的呢？我们直接先来看一下第二段的第一句的地方。这个过程啊，其实是从位于世界各地的制造商开始的。那么这篇呢文章呢，其实有蛮多的限定跟非限定用法的关系子句，所以例如像我们刚刚谈到的第二段第一句，它就有一个补充性非限定用法的关系子句。先行词是 the manufacturers， 也就是制造商。逗点之后就补充说明，这些制造商啊，就坐落就位于全世界各地。好，那么商品当然就是会透过各种方式送到 Amazon 的仓库。那么 Amazon 称这个仓库为物流中心。 我们接着来看第二段的第二句这个地方。首先看到第三个单字叫做 via。via 可以特别圈起来，它也是个介系词，通常指的是透过什么样交通工具的方式。好，接着又有一个非限定用法补充说明的关系子句，先行词是 Amazon's warehouses， 亚马逊的仓库，逗点之后的 which， 到句尾这里可以左右括号。不过括号里面我们可以注意一下 call 这个字， call A B，calls 后面只出现了 B， 也就是叫什么东西，它的所谓的物流中心。那个所谓我们刚刚说的那个 A 啊，就是 which 就是先行词亚马逊的仓库。所以其实关系子句里面应该是亚马逊称这个 Amazon's warehouses 是它的物流中心。好，那么这些物流中心就很大啊，你想也知道嘛，因为整个 Amazon 每年赚进好几千亿的美金的收入，这个真的很大，有一些大到像28个美式足球场那么大，可以容纳数千万的商品。我们来看一下第二段第三句，这个数千万呢，看一下句子最后面的地方，可以把 tens of millions of 这边画起来， millions 就是百万，好几百万，但是前面有 tens 就表示百万再乘以10，所以 tens of millions of items 指的就是数千万件的商品。
We're going to take a quick break. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Welcome back, everybody. Let's continue with our lesson. Remember, we're talking about how Amazon gets products to its consumers. You place an order, and these items are manufactured all over the world, and they're shipped by truck or cargo ship or train to these fulfillment centers, which are basically Amazon's warehouses, and they're enormous. They're the equivalent of 28 football fields in size, and they can hold tens of millions of items. And you might think these centers are organized with precision, but in fact, the opposite is true. Yes, indeed, this is a big company that makes lots of money, so you would assume that they operate these fulfillment centers with precision, but that's actually not true. Now, precision here means to be precise, to be exact. You're not going with the estimates or things like that. You want to know the exact numbers down to the last 1,000th decimal place or something like that. But they're not really organized with precision. Maybe they're kind of chaotic.
Very interesting. Yeah. If something's done randomly, it's happening, or done without a specific plan or a goal or a pattern, you just kind of haphazardly do something. Yeah, I was surprised when I read this. I was thinking that they had a really precise system. They do have a system that works very well, though, obviously. It says here, items are stored randomly since this means a wide array of products is close to hand at any time. Since here doesn't mean that it's connected to some sort of passage of time or a date. Since here is being used as a conjunction, guys, and it's used to give the reason for something. So a synonym here could be because. So since is used sometimes to express a link between two ideas or events, and here that's true. Because why are they stored randomly? Well, because this means a wide array of products is close to hand at any time. Array here just means a group of things or people, especially something that's really large or impressive, different types of things, a variety of things, an array of things. You'll often see an array of something. Oh, we have an array of flowers for you to choose from. Or we have an array of menu items that you can order. So just lots of choices. And those things are close to hand, which just means they're easy to get a hold of. And as new items arrive, they are scanned. Of course, you have to scan things these days. And they're assigned a place in the warehouse by an employee who's called a stower, who stows things away or just puts things in storage. And the items are then placed in storage pods. What's storage mean, Tom?
Storage just means keeping something someplace until you need it. So, of course, you want to keep things in storage. Maybe during the winter, of course, you want to prepare for the spring, so you keep things in storage until they're needed. And this is a storage pod. A pod usually is the cylindrical container that peas are inside. You know, peas in a pod, for example, it's kind of a plant feature. But in this particular case, it just refers to a specific area or a small area where things are held. And when you order something online, here in the next paragraph, it says, when you order something online, a robot moves the pod containing your product to another employee called a picker, who places your order on a conveyor belt that transports it through the warehouse to the packer. So we've got different people here. We've got the stower, and then we've got the picker who takes the product out of the pod, and then the picker places that item on the conveyor belt, and that takes it to the packer. Now, a conveyor belt, of course, is flat and it moves, and I think we all know what that is, a conveyor belt. When I worked in a cafeteria, for example, in the dormitory, people would eat their meal and they'd place their tray on the conveyor belt, which would take their tray back into the dish room, and then the dishes would be washed there. And, of course, factories have conveyor belts because the product moves along this belt, and one person adds something to it, the next person adds something else, etc. That is part of an assembly line. But here it's a conveyor belt which moves the things around. You'll see conveyor belts in airports a lot.
Or even at restaurants that offer sushi. I can think of a couple in particular. There's one in my neighborhood, and if you want a particular sushi dish, you just pick it off or pick it up from the conveyor belt, and it's yours. So, yeah, they've got stowers, pickers, and packers. The packer is the person who puts the item in a box and ensures the box is labeled correctly. To ensure something happens just means to make certain that something happens. The synonym, of course, is to make sure something happens, to ensure, to make sure. So your box, along with hundreds of others, is placed on a truck that goes to a sorting center. If you sort things, you put things into the pile that they belong to. I sort through my laundry before I put it in the washing machine, and I put the light colors together and the dark colors together so I don't ruin anything when I'm washing. Well, they go to a sorting center, and if your order was placed with the premium Amazon Prime service, which you pay a fee for every year. I just read in the newspaper, Tom, that it's going up to $139 per year.
Oh, no.
Yeah, they're raising their price, of course. If you have Amazon Prime, you can get a 2-day delivery for free. Unless you're going from America to somewhere foreign, then sometimes I have to pay money. But Amazon Air will take that item onward or forward to the consumer, while trucks handle regular deliveries. So if you don't have Amazon Prime, then you will just have regular truck service, which takes a few more days to get what you want. I know now our supply chains aren't working very well, so everything takes longer, even if you have Amazon Prime.
I so seldom order anything anymore. I wear the same clothes I've worn for the past 10 years, and they're doing fine. But I guess if you're in a hurry to get something, you might want to be a member of Amazon Prime, because it will be only 2-day delivery. And, of course, Amazon Air will deliver those items onward or forward to you. And then trucks handle regular deliveries, which of course will be slower. But that's okay if you've got time to wait. There's no hurry, and you can pay less. And one of Amazon's delivery service partners then drives the final few kilometers to your place, or at least they place your order in your hands. So they've got these service partners. They're not part of Amazon itself, but they have some kind of business relationship with Amazon. They're service partners, and they drive the final few kilometers to place your order in your hands. Maybe it's a UPS or local postal services.
Yeah, it just depends, I think, where you are. But We've got lots of trucks out there, and I hear they're trying to use drones to deliver things. So life is getting really interesting, guys, isn't it? Right now, we're going to listen one more time to our Chinese teacher, and then we'll be back to sign off.
哇，这些物流中心那么大，我们大概可能想说，这个中心组织一定是很严谨哦，可能是按照什么 A 到 Z 的排列啦，或者是从生活用品啦到卫浴用品啦，或者是到食品啊之类的，可能很严谨。事实上恰恰相反，商品根本就是随机来存放的，指的就是说呢，在它的 warehouse 里面，随时都有各式各样的商品。那到底怎么样来出货到你家呢？其实啊，当一个新的产品送到的时候，新产品就会被扫描，然后并且由一个被称为储藏员的员工在仓库里面分配一个位置。我们同样看第二段的第6句这个地方，第6句的 as 是 when 的意思。我们在英文当中看到 as 如果是连接词的时候，它有可能有3个意思：一 when， 2 because， 3如同好像。那么到底是什么文意，你就要看整句话去做判断。可是你可能有点困惑，我怎么会知道这里的 as 是连接词呢？我们看 as 之后，你有没有找到一个动词叫做 arrive？ 如果在 as 之后有出现动词，就表示它是个连接词。好，我们套进去看看 when new items arrive， 当新的东西到达的时候，他们就会被 scan， 被 assign a place。 好，那么这样的储藏员呢叫做 store， 这个储藏员呢就会把东西放在一个储存仓里面，然后我们在线上订购东西的时候，由机器人来移动装有你订购产品的这个小仓夹，给另外一个称为拣货员 picker 的员工。我们接下来到了第3段哦，第1句这个地方又出现了一个关系子句，这个关系子句的先行词是逗点前面的 a picker， 就所谓的拣货员，逗点之后的 who， 一直到最后面句尾的地方，我们可以先左右括号，它是一个补充性说明的。这个 picker 到底做什么呢？ picker 它就是把你的订单商品放在输送带上，然后传送给装箱员。不过要特别注意哦，在我们刚刚 who 到句尾的地方有一个限定用法的关系子句，先行词是A conveyor belt， 就是一个输送带。那 that 一直到句尾就是限定这个输送带是用来做什么的一个限定用法关系子句。好，那么装箱员就会把你的订单商品放在一个箱子里面，然后呢，确保盒子上贴了正确的标签。那么你的箱子就会跟其他好几百个箱子被放在一辆运往分拣中心的卡车上面。同样，第3段第3句的地方有一个限定用法关系子句，先行词是 a truck， 后面 that 一直到句尾可以左右括号，就是限定到底是什么样的一个 truck， 什么样的一个箱子，什么样的一个这个卡车。好，那如果你的 order 啊，你的订单是那种2天内就可以送达服务的那种顶级的那种方案的话， Amazon 的这个航空就会直接接手过来去做运送。同样，第3段在第4句的地方，我们看到补充说明的非限定用法的关系子句，先行词是逗点前面 The Premium Amazon Prime Service， 逗点之后的 which，到中间逗点的地方呢，则是插入的一种补充说明的关系子句。当然，如果是其他的这个货车呢，就负责是一般运送。所以同样在这一句话当中，逗点之后的 while 要特别抓出来，在这里不是 when 的意思哦。while 当连接词啊，还有表示情况对比然而的意思。好，如果你有兴趣的话，其实可以线上搜寻相关的这一些影片，蛮有趣的哦。这是新的电子商务，我是 Anna， 我们下次见。
Okay, everybody, that brings us to the end of our lesson for today and for the last couple of days. Remember, the first day we talked about mail order in the old days before the internet, and now we've talked about online ordering. Online shopping, of course, Amazon is kind of the biggest one in the world, but there are other services out there. We've mentioned Shopee and Momo and Rakuten and Alibaba and stuff like that. So they, of course, are out there as well, and you've got lots of options to order things online. So that brings us to the end of our program. Once again, from all of us here at English Digest, my name is Tom.
I'm Stephanie.
Goodbye.
See ya.